Okay, quiz number 3, compression for a reason. So compression, we use compression a lot. It's another one of these things that once it starts to make sense to you, once you get your ability to hear it and use it in constructive ways, you really start to get more toward a polished sound, much more controlled, much more able to impose your will on a mix once you know compression. Okay, so the first thing is, from a mixing perspective, the main thing I want to do with compression is to stabilize the balance. Get anything that's too loud or too soft and put it in a smaller range, right? We're reducing the dynamic range. I would say that a lot in Audio 1, right? And so therefore the bass is never much louder than this and never much quieter than that, right? Excuse me. So the first two controls to really get a hold of and use are the makeup gain and the threshold. Okay, once you've got those are the two I want you to focus on. If you're not really comfortable with compressors, just put it on the track that you want it on. Move the threshold around until it is reducing a certain amount of whatever the sound is, right? If it's never hitting the threshold, it's not compressing anything. It's not really doing anything, right? If it's over the threshold all the time, maybe possibly that could be okay. But for the most part, what you want is right where that kind of that dot is, where it changes. You want it kind of traveling back and forth across that sometime and reducing the amount, and then use the makeup gain to make that louder. And we'll do more demonstrations of that and work on that in the hands-on portion. So the other main controls that we've talked about in the other classes are attack and release, right? Those are a little harder to wrap your brain around. Play with them some more and get a feel for those. But I will say, if you hear that you're getting distortion from your compressor, if you are sure it is coming from the compressor, right? Distortion can come from anywhere along the line, from the microphone, the preamp, blah, 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 blah. But if it wasn't distorted, you put on a compressor, now it is distorted, right? And be aware that distortion is not going to sound like a nice tube amp that a guitar sounds like. We're talking about kind of this crunchy sound that is not pleasant. If that shows up, now it's probably caused by your fast attack and fast release. If you find your attack and release, make it longer, okay? Not fast and short, slow and long, and find the nice balance where it's still compressing and it's still doing what you want it to do, but not with the distortion. Okay, another way to do that, if you can't find that happy medium, there's another way. And we've talked about parallel compression. So parallel processing. If we've got a dry track where it's not being compressed, and then we aux it down to another, bus it down to another aux and put the compression on there, and you can do really lots of compression on it, right? So that's going to have all those artifacts and all that badness. But since you've got the parallel unprocessed one on top of it, that should be covering up a lot of the badness, and then what we want, the good sort of sustainedness, you can do through the other one and get that out of it. Which brings us to our last topic, right? Which is that, in fact, you can use multiple compressors on the same track. It's not like you just need to find the one perfect compressor. Compressors do different things. You can use the first compressor to reduce the dynamic range, and that's all that you're doing, right? And then use the other one to like shape the tone or make it sustain, right? Give it more body, any of those things, right? But then you've got two separate compressors on the same track. Okay, very good. That was quiz number 3, compression for a reason.